So I want to start by saying that there is a certain myth about what the media should be doing. And I will start by saying the media or the journalist is not a public relations officer. The media is out to find a good story and tell it. And science is one of the areas that we can find good stories to tell. Because we are all enjoying the products of science. And I always want to use the cell phone. It's amazing. It's so amazing. And you can trace the history of the cell phone from when in Ghana we refer to it as yam. They call it yam. And when someone sees you holding that phone, people will laugh at you. You will have to hide it. You see how the cell phone has evolved. How did it evolve? It didn't just happen. It's science. So when people want to discredit, when we go for conversations on biotechnology and those things, and they are talking, it is not natural. So I asked them, did you pluck this thing off a tree? You didn't pluck it on a tree, for goodness sake. It came as a result of a process, as a result of laboratory experiments that we finally have this product. And that is why we journalists know that there are stories in there to tell. But whether we are going to tell the story or not is dependent on a relationship. Because few of us, yes, basically, like I told somebody, we all went through the elementary school, right? So obviously we also did some general science, and we understand the, how do you call it, the simple ways of the impact on the sun on plants and how it helps. We understand that, but we didn't do science as a subject, and we are handling all kinds of. The editors at times is so pathetic because they have so many stories in front of them dealing with different subjects. So if the story comes and the story is not appealing enough, there is going to be a massacre. And that story will suffer because it's not appealing enough. And appealing, if something does not appeal to the editor, because he's a gatekeeper, it also means that the audience that he is dealing with may not find it appealing. And so we look at things from that perspective. Now, I want to go on to say, we appreciate science because, one, we know there are issues. We are in the 21st century, and so many challenges. The challenge of climate change, the challenge of food security and its associated problems. In my country, Ghana, we have a situation where most of our farmers are turning their food crops into cash crops. And when I interact, I do various things. So at times I interact with them, not because I'm media, but because of other things I do. So I tell them, but we don't drink oil to sleep. And obviously we don't eat cashew nut to sleep. You need the food. But they tell you, yes, we want money. So you make the money out of the cash crop, but at the end of the day, you are going to buy cassava at a higher cost because only few people are cultivating cassava. And that is why we need the science to explain to us what innovations you are utilizing to come up with new varieties of cassava. That will make people go into cassava cultivation. There are stories in there, so we are interested. What a trend which has also happened in Ghana, so really, the issue of us bringing our stories to you. Trust me, it can work, but it's dependent on certain things. One, you are not my editor. But the other, on the flip side of it, if you are my friend, trust me, you can have access to my stories before they are published. And that is why it borders on relationship. It is not mandatory. It's a relationship matter. And tomorrow, God willing, we are going to talk more about that. The other thing I want to talk about is that media reportage is just a little aspect of what media does. We coming to cover events is just a little bit. There are so many things the media does. If you become too dependent on inviting media for your activity, you see, these days they talk about donor fatigue. Media also can get fatigue. Because what is going to happen is that reporter who is always reporting on it, you say, why? Why are you always reporting on these people, their issue? Are they the only one who have issues? So, you will also need to diversify the kind of things you want the media to do, or the kind of things you want to do with the media. We have products. The media has products. There is airtime to be bought. There are discussion programs. There is space in the newspapers. There are so many things. But what often happens, and I remember when we were coming, we were chatting with Prof, and Prof said it, most of the time we know, in my country it happens. The money that goes to the science, the research is so small. So when it comes to communication, it's another, yes, you communicate because it's not a journalist assignment to go into communities to educate community members. No. It is your assignment. You working, you the scientists, you the organization, CSOs, all that. You go into the community. We will come when you invite us to see what is happening on the ground and whether what you did was worth it or not. Was it relevant for the people? That is where we come in. But when you want to sustain information, dissemination to the public, then we work together. But for consistency's sake, it is advisable that however you can, find the money, buy airtime, get into the discussion programs, get some space in the newspapers, put your public notice there. It works. It does. And then how you also package your press releases counts very well. When a press release is well written, the editors are here. They have so much work, it's just published, just like that. Haven't you experienced that before? A well-written, straight to the point public release, press release, it goes like that. Because it is not a very tall one, like he was saying, you come with a 10-page thing. Maybe just 2-pager with the most salient points. Because we are packaging and disseminating information to the public. We don't want big English. Simple, straight to the point, and something that will resonate with our audience, that will make them, and we have ways of doing that. They had, our organizers had a program. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of the program, but I asked her to send me the information. And you see, media work is difficult, and I'm going to explain to you why it is difficult. At times, people think it's easy. So forgive us. Forgive us when, we make some mistakes. Myself, I have made mistakes. We keep making mistakes, and we correct them. Forgive us. You see, it's a process. It is an intellectual process. At times, the information we receive that we have to, break down, it's not just voluminous. But at times, it really doesn't have new sense in it. And you will have to make a new sense out of that. And it can take you about 3 days just getting a lead. Am I lying? It can take you one story, but your editor wants you to make a story sense out of it. And so Caroline fell in love with my story. It took me about 3 days to get it. Not that it was not important. Not that the information in there was not relevant. It all was. But how was I going to make it relevant to the ordinary person? This is something that has been done at the laboratory. Something that I needed to make it relevant, and that was the difficulty. So I sat down. I had to reflect over it. I had to ponder over it before eventually I came out with an angle that I was satisfied with it. And it worked. And so that is it. So forgive us. At times, when we come to your programs, you expect that the next day, headline. It takes time. So pardon us when your items also delay. But when we learn to trust each other and become friends, then we know that your experiments go through process and it can be a lengthy one. So we know that it is not yet time to report. We will not report. Because we have become friends and there is trust among us, we can make the way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.